Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the 1/100 scale full mechanics Gundam Barbatos Lupus. So yeah, as I said before, I think the whole full mechanics title thing is kind of stupid. That's not a title, it's just something that the Bandai just tacked on there for like basically no reason at all. The Gundam frame is the same, the amount of details on the Gundam frame is exactly the same, the amount of details on the outside of the kit on the armor is pretty much the same as with the kits, the 1/100 scale kits all leading up to this one. There is a couple new parts that are added to the frame, but that's just because the Barbatos Lupus has a different design from the previous Barbatos, so they need to change some parts of the frame. I think adding some new parts onto the frame because it's a different design doesn't mean it's a whole new line of kits. That just means it has a different design that requires some new parts. I think that's natural. Anyway, I think that's stupid, so I just don't like that. Anyway, I do like this kit though, however. Like with the Armblood Orphans kits, I think pretty much all of them, between the HG version and the 1/100 scale version, those of them that do have 1/100 scale versions, I definitely prefer the 1/100 scale version more than the HG. That's kind of just taste. I think the 1/100 scale versions tend to look a little bit bulkier, like especially in the leg sections. So that is a look that appeals more to me. It may not appeal like that to everyone though. So overall, in terms of just the construction of this, if you've built the 4th or 6th form 1/100 scale Barbatos, it's going to be pretty much exactly the same. Just compared to the HG, the 1/100 scale does have a little bit better color separation, part separation. So of course less stickers. The majority of the stickers that come with this kit are all going on the inner frame. That again is nothing new. It's all stuff that we should be used to by now if you've built the previous forms. It's nice that we have actual like dark color like black parts there for the toes rather than stickers for those. So that's nice. Again, just color separation on this is good. The only part that I wish that we would have had a color separation for is the little bit of yellow in there on the shoulders. I think they maybe could have made a piece that also fits inside of there. But that's a small thing. Just painting that little tiny bit yellow is not really a big deal. As much as I hate Gundam markers, that is kind of one place where you could, I suppose, use Gundam markers. I still recommend you to just use regular paint though, enamel paint or something to paint that in. Or obviously if you're going to be airbrushing, then you can just mask that pretty easily. It's just a really simple shape there on the shoulder. Otherwise, yeah, color separation is pretty good. We have nice yellow vents for the front skirts, chest, and the legs. We do have that little sticker there on the knee, like that kind of triangle diamond kind of shape symbol there. But for the side skirts, those blue sections, which on the HG were just blue stickers, in this case we have blue parts for those, so that's nice. Still gonna have some seam lines on the side skirts though, so we got seam lines there. That's pretty much gonna be the only like real major seam lines though that you're gonna have to worry about on this kit, is just there on the side skirts. Everything else is pretty much taken care of. Like even the shoulders don't really have seams on there. The legs, no real other seams anywhere else except for just the weapon, I guess, but that's pretty standard and it's a really easy seam to get rid of. So pretty much just the side skirts. So anyway, thank you to MindFenix Hobby Store, as always, for sending me this kit to share with you guys. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this kit indeed. I suppose there maybe is a little bit of a seam on the top of the head as well, but that one again should be pretty simple. Let's take a look at the articulation of this guy. Again, should be all really familiar, but just in case, we'll go over this a little bit here. So the head is gonna go up to about there, down to there. Again, for the eyes, that's not a sticker, that's actual little green piece there feeding through for the eyes, and then the nice little yellow vents there on the side of the head, that's all just separate pieces, and the gray in there. The red, of course, is just all actual parts, so that's really nice. Here's that little seam there though on the top of the head. That's two white parts that sandwich together to make the like back of the head there. So that's all really nice. Here in the arms, these shoulder armor parts are going to move up and down. This red part will separate and move like that with the Tekkaden logo there, with that part feeding through. So the arm can move up really, really far, no problems there. Moving forward and back though is not really going to be much in terms of like this joint being able to swing, so not really a whole lot of articulation there, unfortunately. Otherwise, standard rotation there, and then a double joint should give you a nice full bend at the elbow. Really long forearms for the Barbatos Lupus, and then just wrist is just on a ball joint. Lots of detail here. Nice that we don't have a seam line on the forearms like with the HG kit. This center piece is a separate piece, and then these two parts on the side are separate parts that just fit around that, so no seams on that whatsoever, so that's pretty nice. In the stomach section we have a bend forward, nice ab crunch there, back and forward, side to side. You can see those pistons in the waist section moving nicely, so that works really well. Front skirts are separate. You can separate them anyway like that. Back skirt is just fixed there, but the side skirts will of course move back and forth. There is a little sticker here in the back skirts, this little black part to fill in the middle section of this vent or thruster there on the side skirts, but otherwise that's it. The backpack, this center part does move up and down like that. That as well has been pretty standard on these kits. You can also just take off this whole part, but we'll get back to that later. The legs, again, standard here, just going to rotate at the top. We have a nice double joint in the knee. It's going to give you a pretty full bend there for that. And then here in the ankles are going to be really nice, moving side to side plenty. You have the toe will point down, huge feet on this kit. The toe will point all the way down to there, and then the front ankle armor will move a little bit on there as well. So overall, nice articulation. If you've built the previous versions, nothing's going to really be new or shocking to you. As for accessories, we do have two open hands. Again, that's been pretty standard. These open hands are okay, not really the most expressive though, so yeah, they're just okay. We do have two connectors here for the backpack for you to mount weapons onto the back. We really only need one of them, but to be continued. Then we have our 200mm cannons. Nice that in the HG these were separate. These were not sold with the kit. They were in the separate option set. In this case we have them with the kit. They'll clip onto the arm and then they have a track. These can actually slide forward and back a little bit, and then they can of course turn around. So these will just fit onto the arm like so. And then yeah, you can slide that up, and then when you want to use it you can slide it down and then point it forward like so. Mine's a little bit loose on there, it seems. But anyway, those are nice, but you have a seam line here down the barrel that you will have to get rid of. Not the most difficult thing to do, but there is the cannons. Then for the backpack we have these two mechanical arms which you can use to take off this section to hold your weapons or something. So this will just plug into the backpack. We have a bend here and a bend here for those. So nice and long. If you wanted to attach some stuff onto the backpack, you can do that with these. And then of course we have the sword mace. So here it is. It's just two pieces sandwiched together, just really simple. Compared to the kit, it's slightly taller than the Gundam itself. So it's going to be very, very long, big. This is just molded in that same just kind of dark colored plastic like we can see on like the toes and the backpack. Because I went to the Gunpla Expo though, one of the things that they gave you at the Gunpla Expo was a metallic version of the sword mace. So I actually have two for mine, just because this one is the one from the Expo. Again, just to compare them, you can see there's really not a whole lot of difference. One is just like dark gray and one is like slightly metallic dark gray. So yeah, anyway, it's cool to have two. So for that reason, I'm glad that I do have two of these connectors. I can actually use both of these with this kit if I wanted to use with two. I'm not really sure if that's something that I want to do, but it's nice just to have an extra, I guess. So here are the three different 1/100 scale Barbatos kits together. And yeah, now that I'm seeing them together, I can say with a good amount of certainty that the Barbatos 6th form is definitely my least favorite of the three. Yeah, I don't know. The nice thing about them though is that they're all very compatible because they're all using the same frame. If you wanted to mix and match some parts, like if you are like me, and like the one thing in the Barbatos Lupus that I don't really care too much for is the extended forearms. They're quite long for me. I like just the regular arms. So like maybe for example I could take the arms of the Gundams of the Barbatos 6th form and then put them onto the Barbatos Lupus. I think could be cool or something like that. Anyway, they're very interchangeable, so that's one nice thing about them. Overall though, yeah, it's gonna be looking pretty much like they do go together. You can definitely see a difference though. I will admit that on the Barbatos Lupus there is a lot more surface detail, so I'm guessing that's like the whole full mechanics thing, is that they just added more surface detail to it, which is cool. So yeah, I guess that is something to note. As far as like the frame though, yeah, just nothing really too much more full mechanics about the frame, but I will give them that there is a lot more detail on the surface. One thing, unfortunately, that Bandai did not fix about this kit was the inability to use a regular action-based connector with this. You're still forced to use the action-based connector where it's like just like the fork thing that fits underneath the crotch, just like around the hip joint. It's okay, but some other sort of action-based connector, any sort of action-based connector would be better than that. So it's just unfortunate that while they were full mechanicsing the frame, they couldn't have given us like a new hip frame part that just had a regular plug for a standard action base or something. So that's annoying. Also, the way that it holds the sword mace on the backpack, obviously the sword mace is very long, so that going straight down the back, that does get in the way a little bit of even the legs, but especially if you have it up on an action base, you kind of have to like set it off to the side a little bit. I mean, it is on like the side, it's not in the center of the backpack, but still it does still get in the way a little bit. I've got it like turned a little bit in order to have that not hitting the action base. So you could turn the mount, like this little part there, that little mount piece for the backpack. You could rotate that, but actually the peg is not long enough. It's like set in there in a way that like if you turn that, it'll be like kind of falling off. It won't be actually fitting in there properly. So yeah, a couple of just minor complaints there about that. And I forgot to mention this a moment ago when I was going over the accessories, but the sword mace actually does have two little pegs on the handle, so you can actually fit that into pegs on either the right or the left hand. That's only in one spot though, so if you wanted to do a two-handed grip like this, I suppose you could have that in the peg. It would be a little bit harder to grip it, but I have this, in this case, it's not using the peg on the handle. I just have it, both of the hands just gripped onto the handle there. It's definitely possible to hold it in two hands. I wanted to test that out. There's not really any problem to doing that. I think having a little bit longer handle would definitely make it look kind of cooler. And you could get a little bit more extreme with your posing. One thing though that I think is a little bit annoying when trying to pose the Barbatos, and I have found this with the other Barbatos kits as well, is because the thigh is very short and the lower leg is very long, and the back of the leg, especially in this case, the back of the calf has a pretty big armor piece on it, so you can get, like, the knee bend is basically only like a 90-degree bend. The joint is there, but because of everything, and like because the thigh is so short, it doesn't really do this kind of pose that well. Like, this would look much better if you could have that leg, I think, bent a little bit differently. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but anyway, I think just the way the legs are designed, the way the legs are shaped, for doing like a full bend, like that in the knee, or like for like a lunging sort of dashing pose or something like that, it doesn't really do that pose as nicely, I think, just due to the design. So anyway, that's just a small thing. So with that, I can pretty much wrap up this review. Sorry for you guys if the lighting has not been the greatest for this video, if the white has been kind of blown out in some sections. It's really sunny today. I usually film my reviews at night, but I'm filming this one in the day just because I happen to just have some time at home today. And yeah, it's a little bit brighter than usual, so it's going to be kind of harder for me to control that in the editing, but hopefully it'll be okay once this is all edited. But yeah, overall, another nice kit. Again, I think better in 1/100 scale than in HG scale. For the most part, all the extra details and stuff that we're getting is nice. It's nice that we get the cannons included rather than sold separately. I do think that the HG maybe is a little bit more dynamic in terms of its like posing. The 1/100 scale is a little bit more cumbersome looking, and I think that can be cool depending on the kind of pose or kind of action thing that you want it to do. So anyway, I like this one. Also, just I mentioned before that it seemed like when my cannon was kind of loose on the arm, I just didn't have it connected the right way. There's an inner piece of that sliding mechanism that I didn't have connected correctly, or it had come disattached. So the cannon is fine. It's perfectly solid. It's not loose at all. That was just my fault about that. So sorry about that, guys. Anyway, I think I've covered just about everything. If you do have any other questions or comments, of course, you can leave those down below. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reviewing the 1/100 scale Vidar coming up next in this line. So that one should be pretty cool. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.